So I wasn't going to show this in the picture for the newspaper, but anyway.
Welcome to the General Lewis Inn.
Why, thank you most kindly. You have an elegant, beautiful home here, many of which that I stayed in quite similar to this in Washington, D.C. before the war, when I was having my debut, my coming out ball.
And tell us about what you're doing now, Miss Belle.
Well, since the war, of course, I have returned. My husband died from his stay up in that dreadful Yankee prison in Delaware. And my children are grown, and we do a stage presentation called Dashing Deeds, Perils of a Spy, in which I recount my exploits back during the war. I was arrested over 20 times, imprisoned twice in Washington, D.C., and exiled from the country to be shot on sight by that Republican, Abraham Lincoln.
And tell us a little bit about yourself, Miss Boyd.
Well, I grew up in the little town of Martinsburg there. I was the eldest of 8 children, born to Benjamin and Mary Boyd. My father owned a shop there in the little village and a large tobacco plantation. I never thought about really being a spy, but however, when the Yankees came into Martinsburg there around the 4th day of July, all drunked up and boisterous there in 1861, burst right through the front door, knocked over my mother's fine furniture and busted up her china, demanded to put the stars and stripes over top of our home. Well, Papa had left me this little Philadelphia Derringer to protect the family. I stood there on the steps and I watched as that Yankee, why he lunged at my mother, putting his filthy hands on her person. The blood boiled in my veins in indignation. I pulled the revolver from my skirt and I shot that Yankee. And he fell mortally wounded, expiring a short time later. Needless to say, I was in a great deal of trouble, just having had my 17th birthday, being arrested, and I, of course, told him I was simply trying to protect my mother. He acquitted me of all charges, but they sent Yankee officers to stand guard on our front porch around the clock to protect our home, and it was there, talking to those young officers, very handsome in their blue and gold uniforms, that I started picking up valuable tidbits of information. Information that General Beauregard, General Stuart, General Jackson would have need of, and I started sending it back to, with my colored slaves, back to the Confederate lines. Of course, not being schooled in the art of espionage, it wasn't long until I was arrested. And the rest is kind of history, I guess.